Welcome back. Myself Dr. Shayanti Chatterjee, Associate Professor of Department of Electrical and Electronics Engineering. Today my topic is force on electromagnetic field. So the main course outcome of this topic is we can predict, or after completion of this course, student can predict the force due to moving charge in the magnetic field of various configurations for developing principle of electrical machines. And the Bloom taxonomy level of today's topic is understand. So first we will discuss due to the force due to magnetic field. Force due to magnetic field is an important topic. Unlike the electrical field, whenever we will keep one electromagnet, it will feel some force. So magnetic field can exert a force on electric charge only if it is moving, just as a moving charge produces a magnetic field. So if the electric charge is stationary, it will not exert any force. When the electric charge is moving, then only the magnetic field will create. This force increases with both an increase in charge and magnetic field strength. If the charge value is increased, the force will increase. If the magnetic field intensity increase, it will also increase the force. The force is greater when the charges have their higher velocity. If as I told earlier, that the magnetic force is due to only the magnetic charge. Now, if the magnetic charge has the higher velocity, it will exert more force rather than the less velocity. The magnetic force, however, always acts perpendicular to the velocity. Thus, this force can never produce work on the charge and cannot impart the kinetic energy. So, as we know that if there is a force and acceleration or force and displacement, there will be some work done. But as the force and the magnetic force are acting 90-degree perpendicular to each other, so the work done will be zero, and work done will be zero means the kinetic energy is zero. And we can write it, force is equal to Q, charge, V, velocity, and B is the flux density. That's why we have already told that it will depend on the electric charge, first one. Next one, if the force is greater for higher velocities, as it depends on the V value, and it also depends on the magnetic field strength and increase in charge. So we can see it will depends on increase on charge, it depends on the magnetic velocity, and it depends on the magnetic field strength. Next is where Q is the charge, V is the velocity, and B is the magnetic field. If it is always acts out of the plane and does not contribute any work done, it can merely change the direction of the velocity but cannot change the magnitude. Due to this force, due to the force on the magnetic field, the velocity of the charge may change, but the speed or the velocity of the electrical charge is always constant. And the direction of the force can be determined by the Fleming's right-hand rule. What is the right-hand rule? If we keep our three fingers perpendicular to each other, and if the thumb will gives the direction of the motion or the velocity, and the first finger gives the direction of the force, then B is the direction of the magnetic field intensity. So this is the force due to the magnetic field. Now, unlike the same question, if we can ask, calculate the force due to the electric field. If we keep any charge in the electric field, what happened? We have already discussed these things in the previous class also. The force due to electric field is the charge is built into the definition. It is always F equals to Q into E, and the main thing is it is parallel to the electric field. The force is always parallel to the electric field and it is independent of the velocity of the charge. So what will happen? As this is parallel, so there should be some work done and it can impart the energy to the charge. So these are the main things of the electric field. So what are the difference? Electric field is always works on the parallel, so it can independent of the velocity of the charge. As this is parallel, so we can tell that it can impart the kinetic energy to the charge. And based on it, we will get the Lorentz force. What is Lorentz force? We already got the first equation for the if one moving charge is coming to an electric field, what will happen? The electric force is equal to F equals to Q into E, where Q is the electric charge. Now, if we keep the same amount of charge in the magnetic field, what will happen? The magnetic field always acts in the perpendicular to the velocity. Already we have discussed these things. So Fm is equal to Q is equal to V cross B. Fm, the force on the magnetic field, is equal to Q V cross B. Now, if we want to do the total force, so what is the total force? If we think about an electromagnetic field, half is electric field and half is magnetic field. So total force is F into E plus F into M. So Fe is the electric field and Fm is equal to magnetic field. Now if we put the value, Fe is equal to Qe and Fm is equal to Qv cross B, and we get the value. Q is, we are taking common, E plus V plus B, and this is known as the Lorentz force. So Lorentz force depends on three main things: electric field intensity, the velocity of the charge, and magnetic field intensity. Now, force on a current element due to magnetic field. Let us we assume a long conductor of L is partitioned into different number of parts. Each parts are small length L. So what will happen? We can think this is a current carrying conductor and it is carrying a current I. We are assuming a small part. We are assuming a small part here and it is dl. We are taking the dl. Now, so therefore this current flowing in this small area is IDL. The small area is IDL. Now, as this current carrying conductor are in a magnetic field, we can write dF is equal to dq V cross B. And what is V? V is nothing if that current is flowing through this line and the length is L. So V we can write dl by dt. What is dl? dl is the length of this small area. dl is the length of this small area. Again, what is dq? We know, we have already discussed in the unit 1, the charge depends on the volume charge density. And what is volume charge density? Rho v. Rho v is the volume charge density. And what is the value of the rho v? Rho v is nothing but the charge per unit volume. So just we are putting the value dq is equal to rho v dv v cross b. Rho v dv v cross b. Now what is rho b into V? Already we know rho b into V is equal to J. What is J? J is equal to nothing but the current density. J is nothing but the current density. And what is the value of current density? It is rho v into V, or V is the velocity. So we will, if we can write again, what is current? Current is equal to current density into A. A is the cross-sectional area or surface area. So we can write, I have missed one line actually, J. What is volume? Volume means A into dl into B. This dV we can write like this. The dV can be write like this, JA into dl. JA is the current density, A is the area, dl is the length, and volume is equal to, we know, volume is equal to cross-sectional area or into length. So J into A is equal to I cross B dl. So the force on a current element can be written as I cross B dl, or we can write where J is equal to, where J equals to rho V into V, and J into dV is equal to dl. Already we have discussed this two things. So I cross B dl is equal to BIL sin theta. Why it is BIL? If it is dF, if we integrate I cross B, what is I cross B? A cross B is equal to, A cross B always AB sin theta. So we are getting BI sin theta, and integration of dl is equal to L. Actually F is equal to I cross B dl. So I cross B is equal to B into I, and L dl integration is equal to L. So we are getting force is equal to BIL sin theta. Now we will discuss force on a long straight current carrying conductor due to magnetic field. So what is the difference? This is the current element. We are just thinking about a small length current element, but force on a straight long current carrying conductor. So same thing, this is a long current carrying conductor and the arrows are the direction, and we are thinking that it is taking the I current. Due to the current, it is also a current density, and this is the flux, electric flux density D is there. The velocity of the charges is given at the length of the conductor is V. So the force, already we know the force, as there is a flow of charge, we can write dF equals to dQ V cross B. Already we have discussed. So what is dF? dQ dl dt into B. Now this is the another proof actually. So again dQ by dt. What is dQ by dt? dQ by dt is equal to di. So dl cross B. So we can write it as a di dl B sin theta. So if we integrate the both side, we will get F is equal to, if we integrate the both side, we will get F is equal to BIL sin theta. So again we can think the current carrying conductor with a small element, or we can take the total current carrying conductor, and for the both case force is equal to F equals to BIL sin theta. Next important topic of this chapter, long current carrying conductor placed in the magnetic field. But we are thinking these conductors are parallel to each other. When they are parallel to each other, what will happen? This is a long current carrying conductor and this is a long current carrying conductor. We can take the example of the overhead line. This is a very important example of power system. When we are thinking about two long current carrying conductor, any length of overhead lines, one is taking the I1 current, another is taking I2 current, and the distance between them is D. So this is the one current carrying conductor, this is another current carrying conductor, and distance between them is D. So, and we can write the magnetic field intensity due to conductor P on Q. When current is flowing through the P, I1, the magnetic field intensity for I1 on Q2 is equal to H is equal to I1 by 2 pi D. From the Ampere circuital law, we can write. Similarly, if we want to calculate the field intensity on P due to Q, on P due to Q, what will happen in that case? H is equal to I2 by 2 pi D. So same thing here, we are taking the field intensity due to P on Q. So H is equal to I1 by 2 pi D. Now, so what will be the magnetic flux density? We know the relation B is equal to mu into H. So H value we got. So we are writing the B is equal to mu I1 2 pi D. Then what will be the force experienced by the conductor Q due to the field of P? So we know for only one charge, already we got F is equal to BIL. So BIL sin theta. Now we are now taking the sin theta. So in the second, think only second conductor. So flux density we got B. Current in the Q conductor is I, and we are assuming the length is L. We are taking the maximum value. Actual formula is BIL sin theta, but we are taking the maximum value and sin theta maximum is 1. So F is equal to BI2L. So what is the value of B? Mu I1 2 pi D. Mu I1 2 pi D I2 into L. So this is the force. This is the force on the Q coil due to I. So similarly, we can prove the first one also. How to do this proof? The proof is already I told, if we want to calculate the field intensity on P due to Q, what will be the value? This H will be like the previous one, I2 divided by 2 pi D using the Ampere circuital law. So what will be the value of B? Mu into H. Then what will be the force in the first one? Force is B I1, length is L. We are taking again the maximum value. What is B? B is equal to mu I2 by 2 pi D into I1 into total L. So F2 you can check, mu naught I1 I2 L by 2 pi D. So if we do not know the length of the total length, we have to calculate the force per unit length. So force per unit length is mu naught I1 I2 by 2 pi D. So this is the force per unit length of a 2 current carrying conductor. Next we and here also we can solve a small problem. If I1 is equal to 2 ampere and I2 is equal to 5 ampere and the distance between them is 1 meter. Calculate the force per unit length. Force per unit length, how we can calculate? We can calculate the force per unit length means mu naught 2 pi into 10 to the power minus 7, 4 pi into 10 to the power minus 7, I1 is equal to 2, I2 is equal to 5 by 2 pi and d, 1 meter. So pi cancel out, 2 cancel out. So it will be 20 into 10 to the power minus 7 and unit is Newton. If the both sides current is flowing in the same direction, it is an attractive force. If it is coming in the opposite direction, means one is positive, one is negative, it is a repulsive force. Next, so we will discuss about the magnetic potential. What is the meaning of the magnetic potential? Magnetic potential, same like the electric potential, that the work done to bring one unit positive north pole in a magnetic field is known as the magnetic potential. Now, unlike the electric field, magnetic potential is basically two types. One is the scalar magnetic potential and another one is the vector magnetic potential. So, magnetic potential is the property of certain substances or phenomena that give rise to the magnetic field. According to the definition, we can tell magnetic potential is the property of certain substances or phenomena. Substances means for iron, one type of substance, nickel, another type. So, the property of certain substances or phenomena that helps to gives rise of the magnetic field. So, first there it is two types, scalar and vector. First, we will discuss about the scalar magnetic field. What is scalar magnetic field? Scalar magnetic field can be written with the term psi. Scalar magnetic field can be written with the term psi. Sometimes it can be written by Vm also, the potential due to the magnet. So magnetic scalar potential is the quantity in classical electromagnetism, analogous to electrical potential. So this is the definition, same like the electrical potential. So what is that? The work done to bring one unit positive north pole from infinity to the magnetic field. So E is equal to grad, we already know this equation. E is equal to minus grad V. What is grad? Grad V means, what is grad? Grad is equal to del by del x plus del by del y plus del by del z into V. So similarly, as this is analogous to electrical potential, we can write H equals to minus grad Vm. We can write H is equal to minus grad Vm, where Vm is the vector magnetic potential. It is the vector magnetic potential. So we got these two equations. If we applying the curl or if we take the cross product in the both side, we will get grad cross H is equal to grad cross Vm. But according to the definition or according to the vector algebra, curl of divergence of any vector is 0. So grad cross H is equal to 0. Why? Because the curl of grad cross grad Vm. So this is the divergence and this is the curl. The cross product is curl and the dot product is the divergence. So divergence of curl is equals to 0. So we can write grad cross H equals to 0. Again, according to our definition, it is given that the grad cross H is equal to J. This is the according to the definition. So from these two equation, if we equate these two equation, we will get J equals to 0. So we can write that only case where the constant magnetic field. So we also know that the current density in an static magnetic field is always 0. Again, we know E dot dl is equal to B. Actually, minus E dot dl equals to B. If we are not taking the direction, we can write E dot dl is equal to B. So, similarly, we can write H dot dl is equal to Vm. H dot dl is equal to Vm. Similarly, what is Vm? Vm is the static, or we can tell scalar magnetic potential, or we can write it psi also. Again, according to the Ampere circuital law, H dl is equal to I. So Vm is equal to I. So we can write the scalar magnetic potential, the unit is not volt. The unit of the scalar magnetic potential is ampere. And this is a very, very important question. What is the unit of the scalar magnetic potential? Though we know magnetic potential unit is 0, but we can write the scalar magnetic field is ampere. So if there is a scalar thing, there should be some magnetic thing also. So now we will move to the vector magnetic potential. Magnetic potential, it is written as A. There is no other term. A, capital A, means it is a vector magnetic potential, is the vector quantity in classical electromagnetism defined so that curl is equal to the magnetic field. What is this? Grad cross A is equal to B, where A is the vector quantity. So we got the magnetic vector potential is equals to the grad cross A is equal to B. So how we can prove this one? We know that the divergence of the magnetic flux density over a closed surface is always 0. Grad cross B, according to the Gauss law, the divergence of the magnetic field density over a closed surface is equals to 0. Now again we can write grad, what is B? Grad cross A. Grad cross A is equal to 0. So if we compare these two equations, again, so grad dot grad cross A equals to 0. Now what is B? Again, B is equal to, here we know the B. So B equals to grad cross A. So grad cross A, actually there should be one space. So mu, what is B? Mu H. So what is mu H? Grad cross A. We can write mu H, why? B equals to mu H is equal to grad cross A. So what is H? Grad cross A into mu. Grad cross H is equal to grad cross A by mu. If we take curl in the both side, we can write grad cross H is equal to grad cross A by mu. Just we are substituting the value here. Now, what is grad cross H? grad cross H according to the Maxwell's equation, it is equals to J. Again, so we can write grad cross A is equal to mu into J. And by solving this, we can write that grad square A is equal to mu J. So previously we got for the scalar magnetic field J equals to 0, but for the vector magnetic field we can tell grad square A is the magnetic vector potential. Vector magnetic potential is equal to mu into J, where mu is the permeability of the medium and what is J? J is nothing but the current density. Again, from the electrostatic, we know another thing we will prove in the light of electrostatic. We know dV is equal to dQ by 4 pi epsilon. So, how to get this one? We already discussed this equation in unit 1, that if anything in the spherical shape, if the charge in a sphere, we can write dV is equal to dQ by 4 pi epsilon. And in the magnetic field, we have already got dA is equal to mu I dl by 4 pi r. How we can get this? We got that magnetic field potential is equal to mu I dl by 4 pi r. So this is the, and A is equal to integration of mu I dl by 4 pi r. This is the definition of the vector magnetic field. Vector magnetic field A is equal to integration of mu I dl by 4 pi r. We can get the equation from the Biot-Savart's law. Next, we will discuss about the permanent magnet. What is the meaning of permanent magnet? Permanent magnet means normal magnet. We are not giving any type of current in it. What are the properties of the permanent magnet? Permanent magnets are on which readily available in the nature, either in the form of bar or in the form of the horseshoe. The permanent magnets, irrespective of supply, always exhibits the magnetic property. If we take any natural magnet, it will always show the magnetic property in it. Permanent magnet always develops a constant magnetic field, as it is naturally get and north pole and south pole is constant. So if all the circumstances, pressure, temperature and the other physical conditions are constant, we can tell the permanent magnet always develops a constant magnetic field. Last one, these are the 3 important property. Fourth topic is the strength of permanent magnets is always measured in terms of cohesive force. The force on it, if we bring one iron or any ferromagnetic material to it, the force on that ferromagnetic material is known as this cohesive force. Next one is the, and permanent magnet with high cohesive force will have always long life. Permanent magnet got the disadvantage of aging effect, as after a long time, due to the change in nature, environment, it will get some corrosion or it will be just broke. So in the long term, they may get rusted also or damaged. So the main disadvantage is the aging effect. What is the main application? Permanent magnets are used in the application where it is used for the constant magnetic field. One important example is the PMDC, permanent magnet DC. We can use the permanent magnet in the PMDC motor. What are the examples of the permanent magnet? Permanent magnet is basically 2 types. One is the horseshoe type, another one is the bud type. We can see these two types we can get in naturally. This is the North Pole and this is the South Pole for the bud type, or vice versa. Here also one is the North Pole, another one is the South Pole. The strength of the horseshoe is more than the bud type. That's why when we are doing any electromagnet, we always try to give the electromagnet cone like a horseshoe, as this has the more strength. So in this chapter we have discussed about, first one is what is the force on the current element. Then we have discussed about the force on the two long wire in two method. Then we have discussed about the Lorentz force. Lorentz force works in both electric field as well as the magnetic field. Then we have discussed about the force on the two parallel conductors. Next we have discussed about the magnetic potentials. Magnetic potential is two types. One is the vector potential, another one is the scalar potential. Then we have discussed about the permanent magnet, characteristics of permanent magnet, and we have discussed about the applications of the permanent magnet. So this is my today's class, and thank you all.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.